When I look at the world today, and I think, Kevin, you feel the same way, I see only one country in the world that has a global strategy today, and it's not America. It's China. And it's a global economic strategy. It's a geo-economic strategy, and increasingly it's working. And I think the idea that if the United States doesn't lead, that no one else is going to lead, and so there'll be chaos, there's a lot of truth to that. But also, if the United States doesn't lead, the fact that the Chinese will occupy a lot of space and that American allies will start hedging. And as a consequence, U.S.-led global institutions will not become led by China, but they will become fundamentally weaker, more fragmented. That really worries me. I think once the Soviet Union collapsed, we stopped doing foreign policy strategy. I think we became much more reactive. And I think that certainly, look, you can say Bush W. was indispensable America. I don't think so. I think Bush W. was no foreign policy interest whatsoever. He barely traveled outside the U.S. when he was president until 9/11. And I think in the last 25 years, we have a foreign policy that has been marked by extraordinary overreaction to stuff, whatever the stuff happens to be. I mean, Ebola. Pay no attention whatsoever until, God forbid, an American shows up with Ebola. And then we're going crazy. Then our hair's on fire, right? And ISIS is the JV team until they, God forbid, they actually, sort of cut the heads off of 2 Americans. Then suddenly we pay 2 Americans, right? Not 250,000 Syrians dead, but 2 Americans. For me, I have a hard time lining up that math. I just do. Not that I don't care. And of course, the biggest overreaction was 9/11. If you think about the costs of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and what we were and weren't doing there and are still not or doing there. And so I think that for the last 25 years, we've had neither of these 3 choices. We've had incoherent America. And I think incoherent America wasn't so bad for the first few years because we were large and in charge. But what really worries me is that if we continue with incoherent America, then we hit 9/11 and we all react. But at least after 9/11, the world order was one where China wasn't as big as it is now, where there weren't the same threats to the U.S., where our allies were much more aligned with us. And so if we decided we wanted to go off and spend an enormous amount of money and kill a whole bunch of people in Iraq, we could do it and a whole bunch of countries would still stick with us. But God forbid we elect a president who does 2 terms, 8 more years of incoherent America, when China isn't just the largest by one measure, but it becomes the largest by a whole bunch. And then what's the next shock? And do we all run around and overreact to that shock in an environment where America is absolutely nowhere near as powerful in the global order as it was after 9/11? That's what worries me.